Hi, I'm Amanda of Inspiring Inkin, or welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a kit, the Harvest Home Garland kit. It is absolutely stunning. It makes a garland that is 5.5 feet long. It's full of texture and color. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's get the camera turned around and start crafting. So this is how your kit arrives, and inside there are some acorns on wires, and these are really light. I think they must be like a polystyrene, so really, really lightweight. And then the kit itself with the instructions. So let's just get this all opened up. So the first thing is, this is the wire to make the garland, and it's about 5.5 foot long. And you can see as I'm kind of stretching it out, it will shape to whatever you want it to do. And it's covered in like an early espresso color paper. But it's like I say, it's 5.5 feet long. So it's tall, it's taller than me. Now it's designed obviously as a garland, but if you wanted to, you could make multiple wreaths. So let me just bend the wire whilst I've got that in my thought process. Yeah, so you'd be able to easily make 2 circular wreaths if you wanted to. So I'm just gonna untangle part of this because for the purpose of the video, I'm just going to do a section of this garland. So that's the wire, and then we've got the instructions, which we'll come back to, but let's just look at what's in here. So we've got, this is like a textured paper, and I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but it's actually leaves that are die cut and they are embossed. So there's a couple of sheets of that. There are a couple of sheets in copper, and actually you can see the embossing here much easier, and they pop out. Oh, so there's 1, 2. Oh, actually, was there just 2 sheets there? Yeah, so 2 sheets of that, 4 of the copper, 2 of the grey. And this is like a handmade paper. It's textural, it's mottled, really pretty. Then you've got 2 sheets of this pale blue, which is a much smoother paper. 2 sheets of a kind of crumb cake-ish colour. And then these are doubles. So you've got 2 leaves attached together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of those. And then we've got green. Again, this is the smooth one. Then like a corally colour. And then a paler green. So compared to that original green, you can see it's paler green. Some cream. And all of these so far have been the smooth paper. Then like a Cajun craze kind of colour. And then some doubles that have 2 colours of leaves. So that is a double. So you've got 2 sheets of those. Okay, so let's look at the instructions. As with most of our kits, there are pictorial instructions, and it's just to give you an idea. How you assemble this kit is obviously up to you, but I am going to follow the plan and then share some hints and tips that I learn along the way. So the first thing it's suggesting that you do is pop out some of the leaves and fold them, which makes sense. The next thing is to curve up the acorns and twist them to make doubles, unravel your wire, and then glue. So that's kind of the process of the things that you need to do. And then here is kind of a layout of the different leaves and patterns and colors and so on. Okay. So looking at the finished garland here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. So the way that this is planned out is that there is the 10 acorns in sections. And by looking at that, I'm looking at it in sections of 3. So that's how I'm going to work on this garland. I'm going to do a third of the garland. So I'm actually going to figure out, and I will pause the video and come back once I've done the math, is to figure out what is kind of a third of the garland so that I don't run out. I am sure that Stampin' Up! Have put way too many leaves in, but I don't want to run out. So that's what I'm going to do. But first, what I'm going to do is just pop out some of the leaves just to show you. And then I'll pause the camera and come back in a moment. So that is one of the double leaves. And you've actually sort of got a score line down the central vein. So I'm just going to give that a little squash. And that is how it's going to give us the texture. So on a single as well, it's exactly the same. Just going to fold it up. And I've got my bone folder here as well. So I think I may well end up curling and bending some of the leaves a little bit as well. And then let me just grab one of those more textured paper. This is so pretty. I love this kind of handmade type paper. So you've got that. Let's just get a big leaf out. Let's get one of these maple leaves out. There we go. Okay. So the acorns, what it actually says to do is to take a single acorn and curve the wire around like in a loop. So let's just bring that around. And that's obviously to make the wire a little bit shorter, but to give you a bit of purchase when you actually glue it. And I'll come to the gluing in a second. And then for the doubles, it's just a case of twisting them together like so. And again, once the wires are twisted together, you will be able to sort of bend them and manipulate them. So you'll be able to sort of give your wreath dimension. Okay, so that's those. So in order to make this, you are going to need a glue gun. Now I've got my favorite Bosch glue pen. I have actually filmed a video about this glue pen. I love it. Just to sort of give you a bit of information, the reason that I love it is because it's cordless. So it's got a rechargeable battery inside. So you charge it up and then you don't have the wires. And the nozzle is really quite fine. So it actually means that you have a lot more control, I guess. So I'm just going to pause the video and work out how much wire and how much of the wreath I'm going to do. I originally said a third, but I'm just wondering actually whether I ought to do sort of a quarter or even a sixth. So bear with me a second and I will be back. Okay, so I've done my maths and I've figured out what the plan is. Okay, so I have folded the wire in half and then in half again. So this is a quarter length, and actually it's perfect size for showing on camera, but also it makes the maths so much easier. So I've got 3 of the acorns, and then for the leaves, all of these, so the handmade paper and all of the smooth papers, I have punched out, let me just bring that up, 4 from each, for 4 of each colour. So, and I've just sort of done a random assortment of 4, and then that means I've got another 12 left over. So that's in all of these sheets. In the coloured doubles, I've pushed out 3. So again, obviously a quarter. And then for the foiled ones, I've punched out a whole sheet because there's 4 of the individual leaves. Now, save these. Firstly, you can use them as masks, but also you could punch out or die cut in the gaps. And because you had 4 sheets of that. And then this one, look at the space. There's so much space, so many things you can die cut here. So there are 4 sheets of this. So I've punched them all out. So what I'm going to do is speed the camera up whilst I fold all of these and give them some texture, and that will give my little heat gun time to warm itself up, and then we will start gluing. Okay, so I've got all of my leaves here. Glue gun is hot, and I'm ready to get started. So I'm just going to bring in the instructions again and have a quick look at the way this is laid out. So let me just move that up a little bit. So for instance, there's a maple leaf here, and you can actually see that it's almost stuck the full length of the wreath, but because you're going to work from one end, so in my instance I'm working from left to right, I'm right-handed. Obviously if you're left-handed you'll probably work the other way, but we're just going to build everything up. So this wreath is actually designed to have a front. It's not double-sided, and the reason I'm saying that is although the leaves are double-sided, sorry, the coloured leaves are double-sided, the foiled ones aren't. So if you want to make this double-sided for where you're going to put it, then obviously bear that in mind, and perhaps when you're positioning your foiled leaves, make sure there's another leaf kind of behind them. But I'm just going to get started and randomly add things to this wreath, and I'm almost out of glue, and I knew that would happen. It's always the same whenever you are on camera. It starts out and you're thinking, you just want to be able to pop the glue on, and I'm kind of conscious actually this is not easy for you to see, so I'm going to have to do a bit of magic perhaps in the editing and zoom in a bit. So let me move that out of the way. I'll put that there so I can kind of keep an eye on it. And when you're using hot glue, firstly, be really careful. I have lost skin off my fingers because I stuck my fingers in the glue. So just take care of yourself and make sure that when you're sticking things down, you don't stick your finger on the glue. So let me just move that up. I'm conscious that I want you to be able to see this, but equally, I don't want to stick that finger in the glue. There we go. Hang on. You. I'm loving that already. Okay, so I'm going to put the acorns down there, and I've glued them. I'm move that back over there a bit. I've glued them and keep my finger out of the way of the glue, but I'm just, she says, with glue on her thumb. Okay. It's all right. It was fairly cool at the time at which I touched it. Otherwise, I'd be squealing. Right. So let me just wrap. If I thought about that first, I would have wrapped it first. There we go. So I'm going to wrap the wire around. And the reason for that is because although these are quite light, they're not, they are still heavier than paper. So by doing that, it just means they're slightly more secure. Let's just press that down a bit more. If you've got a pair of pliers, that would work as well. But I've got this much, and look how many leaves I've got. So at the beginning, I said I was fairly sure that there would be leaves left over, and I was right. Okay, so for that one, I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the leaf itself. So I think this is going to be a case of sometimes the glue is going to go on the wire, sometimes it's going to go on the leaf, depending kind of on which direction everything is sticking. And if I just turn this over, you'll be able to see it's not going to be that pretty on the back. But that's okay. It doesn't always have to be beautiful from all sides. And certainly my plan for this is to put it on a display table for when I do shows. So I'm really kind of, I'm looking forward to using this as a display item, as like a swag on a table. So there we go. I'm going to fold that in, just bend it so that the leaves go where I want them to go. Oh, I'm loving that. Right, so that, can you see that's flopping about a bit? So let's just add in a little bit more glue. Give it a squish. Obviously not with your finger, because that would be silly. I can imagine that you're shouting at me, right? Amanda, don't stick your finger in it. There we go. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Let's pop that there. So I think that's all the different colours. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So I'm absolutely not trying to go that colour and doing it in order, because it does need to be random. But I will try and add in an element of variety, I guess, is the plan. I'm purposely not going to put two of the same colour together, I think is probably the best way to describe my thoughts. And I also, you can see I'm kind of pulling some of the leaves out. I don't want it to be really narrow. I do want it to kind of be, to have quite a lot of volume. So I will be kind of making sure that the leaves kind of go off at an angle, like that. Okay, so I've learnt from last time, I'm going to wrap this around first and then glue it. So let's just do that. No, so that means as well that you're not going to get the sharp edges in there. Okay, let's bend that down. Pop a bit more glue on there to keep it in. Let's add that one. Pop that there. Okay. Oh, so I'm not actually working on a mat because my glass mat reflects when I'm filming, but my my desk that I'm using is well loved, but please do make sure that you protect the surface that you're working on. I am loving this. Okay, so can we just say, look, I've got this much here left to do, and I've got all these leaves. There is no way I'm going to need this many leaves to finish this off. But what it's made me appreciate is, you know, I can put in more, so I can actually go back and add more. But equally, if you wanted to, you could add bits on the back. So I think that may be what I will do. So I just want to move that stem down. There we go. Okay. Let's go blue. Just going to unravel this a little bit. Make it easier to work with. I've still got the sort of bend there, so I know that's kind of where I'm aiming for. Just put that on there. Okay. So let's just switch my glue gun off. So I'm just gonna gather that there. So there is basically a quarter of the wreath done. I am going to flip this over and add a few leaves on the back. Not many, but just to kind of secure the wire both sides a little bit, but also just to make it so it's sort of smoother on the back. I should probably just put those 3 maple leaves on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these leaves to one side and get another quarter and work on those, and then another quarter and work on those, another quarter and work on those. And then I'm going to see when I've finished, I'm obviously going to pause the video now. When I've finished, I will show you what I have left over, because I'm really excited that we'll be able to make something else with it when I'm done. Okay, so give me a few seconds and I'll carry on with this, and we'll be back shortly when I'm done. The garland is finished and I am thrilled. It's so beautiful and it's so big I can barely get it kind of on the screen. The splitting the leaves up into 4 worked brilliantly. So if you're making this yourself, I would absolutely recommend that you do that. There are so many foil leaves. It just gives a really elegant look. The wire itself is really strong. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull this so you can kind of see it from the beginning to the end. The wire's really strong, so you can make whatever kind of shape that you want to. Obviously, you've got the acorns nestled in there, and the folding of the leaves gives it dimension, but the embossing on those leaves is beautiful. So it just gives a really lovely effect. So I'll just keep going around and around all the way to the end. So this kit is available right now. As I said from the beginning, you could split this into 2 and make 2 wreaths if you wanted to. I'm going to be using this. I've got some craft shows coming up and I'm going to be using this as a display. So I'm really excited about that. But I hope that you have enjoyed my little walk through making the Harvest Home Garland. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. Please do like and subscribe the video. Like and subscribe like the video, subscribe to my channel. Please pop over to my blog, which is www.inspiringinkin.com. There you'll find clickable links to the wreath, but also lots of creative inspiration, and you can sign up for my emailing list there as well. Do take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.